June 97 BC. Through the fog, 8,000 Macedonian pikes charge downhill like a wall of death. The Roman left collapses, bleeding into the mud. Victory is certain. Then a single Roman officer sees something no one else does. He turns 2,500 men around, charges into the enemy's back, and in one terrible moment, destroys an army that had conquered the world. The year is 197 BC. For 3 years, Rome and Macedonia have bled each other across the hills of Greece. Philip V of Macedonia, descendant of Alexander the Great, commands an army built on the same weapon that had crushed Persia, the Sarissa Phalanx. 18-foot pikes held by 16,000 men in perfect formation. When it advances, nothing survives. Not cavalry, not infantry, not walls. Across the valley stands Titus Flamininus, young, ambitious, leading 26,000 Romans and their Greek allies. His legions carry something different. Not long spears, but short swords. Not rigid lines, but flexible maniples. Small units that can move, turn, breathe. For 2 weeks, both armies have hunted each other through Thessaly. Neither can find the other, until now. Philip's army is starving. His men have eaten through their supplies, and the land around them offers nothing. He needs grain. The town of Cynoscephalae lies to the west, full of food and flat ground where his phalanx can deploy properly. He gives the order. March west. The army moves along the northern slopes of a range of hills called Cynoscephalae. Dogs' heads, named for their shape. Flamininus discovers the movement. His scouts return breathless. The Macedonians are moving west. He orders his legions forward, marching along the southern slopes. For 2 days, the armies move in parallel, separated only by the hills between them. Neither knows exactly where the other is. The tension builds. Every soldier feels it. Something is coming. Dawn breaks on the 3rd day. A storm rolls in from the sea. Rain falls hard and cold. Fog descends, thick as wool, covering everything. Visibility drops to a few steps. Flamininus orders his men to stay in camp. He fears an ambush. Philip does the same, but both commanders know they cannot wait forever. The fog hides danger, but it also hides opportunity. Philip makes a choice. His men are hungry. Half his heavy infantry goes foraging for food, but he cannot leave himself blind. He sends his light infantry and half his cavalry up to the Cynoscephalae ridge. Their orders are simple. Find the Romans. Hold the high ground. Meanwhile, Flamininus makes the same calculation. He sends 1,000 light infantry and 300 cavalry up the same hills. In the fog, the two forces collide. Light infantry stumbles into light infantry. Macedonian cavalry meets Roman horsemen. The visibility is so poor that men fight at arm's length, unable to see who they're killing. Javelins fly blind. Swords flash in the mist. The sound of combat echoes through the fog, but neither side knows how many enemies they face. Flamininus hears the fighting. He sends 2,000 more light infantry and 500 cavalry to support. Even with limited vision, his reinforcements tip the balance. The Macedonians begin to fall back, retreating toward the peaks of the Cynoscephalae. Messengers race down the hill to Philip. They beg for help. The Romans are winning. They need the phalanx. Philip stands in his camp staring into the fog. He knows the trap. If he sends his phalanx up those hills without knowing the enemy's strength, he could lose everything. The terrain is wrong. The visibility is wrong. Everything is wrong. But his men are being pushed back. He hears their cries carried on the wind. He makes his choice. Form the phalanx. We attack. As Philip's right wing begins to form, the fog starts to clear. Slowly, like a curtain rising, the battlefield reveals itself. And what Philip sees changes everything. The Roman army is there, but it's not fully formed. Only light troops and cavalry. He can see the Roman camp below. This is his moment. He orders the charge. Philip leads his right wing personally. 8,000 phalangites in tight formation. Their sarissas lower as one. The sound is like thunder. 18 feet of iron-tipped wood pointing forward. Behind them, another 8,000 men under his general Nicanor struggle to catch up. But Philip cannot wait. The enemy is in front of him. The hill slopes downward. He gives the order. Charge. The Macedonian right phalanx charges down the hill. The weight of 8,000 men moving as one. Each soldier occupies half the space of a Roman. One Roman legionary faces 2 phalangites and 10 pike points simultaneously. The Romans on the left have no answer. The sarissas punch through shields. Bodies fall. The Roman left begins to break, to retreat, to bleed. Flamininus sees his left wing collapsing. He knows that if it breaks completely, the entire army will follow. But he also sees something else. On the Macedonian left, Nicanor's men are arriving in chaos. Some are still climbing the hill, others are trying to form ranks, none are ready for battle. He makes his decision, he rides to his right wing. Flamininus unleashes his trump card. 20 war elephants lead the Roman right wing forward. Behind them, 4,000 Italian allies and Greek infantry. The ground shakes under elephant feet. The Macedonians on the left see the beast coming and panic spreads. They are still in marching formation, unprepared, unformed. The elephants crash into them like moving mountains. Nicanor's wing shatters, men scatter. Some run down the hill. Others try to fight but have no formation to support them. The phalanx only works when it's together. Tight, unbreakable. Scattered across broken ground, the phalangites are just men with long spears they can't use. The Romans pursue, cutting them down, driving them back into the fog. The battlefield splits in two. On the Roman left, Philip's phalanx pushes downhill, grinding through Roman resistance. On the Roman right, Flamininus's men chase Nicanor's broken wing across the ridge. Between them, a gap opens, wide enough to drive a wagon through. The two battles rage independently. Neither side can see the other. Neither can help. An unnamed Roman Tribune stands on the right wing watching the pursuit. His name is lost to history. But what he sees in that moment will change the world. He looks across the gap between the two battles. He sees Philip's phalanx, still pushing forward, backs exposed. He realizes they don't know their left wing has collapsed. They're vulnerable. The Tribune makes a choice that no one ordered him to make. He halts 20 maniples. That's about 2,500 men. Veteran legionaries from the Principes and Triarii. He turns them around, away from the fleeing enemy, toward the victorious Macedonian phalanx. His officers stare at him. He points across the battlefield. We attack from behind. The Tribune leads his 2,500 men across the gap. They move fast, swords drawn, shields locked. From Philip's position down the hill, the maneuver is invisible. His phalangites push forward, thinking only of the Romans in front of them. They don't see the storm coming from behind. They don't know their formation is about to die. The Roman maniples hit the rear of the phalanx like a hammer. The phalangites have 18-foot pikes, perfect for fighting forward, useless for turning around. A phalanx cannot pivot. It cannot defend its rear. It can only push in one direction. The Tribune's men stab into backs, between armor plates, under helmets. The killing is methodical, brutal, unstoppable. Panic spreads through the Macedonian ranks. Men try to turn, but the formation is too tight. They crash into each other. Sarissas tangle. Some soldiers raise their pikes straight up, the Macedonian sign of surrender. But the Romans don't understand, or don't care. They keep killing. The phalanx that had seemed invincible 60 seconds ago is now a trap, a death trap. Philip sees his phalanx disintegrating. He screams orders, but no one can hear him over the chaos. Men around him fall. The formation he led down the hill so confidently is now a massacre. He realizes the truth too late. His left wing never formed. The Romans attacked from behind. His perfect formation has become a slaughterhouse. He gives the only order left: retreat. The Macedonian army shatters. Those who can run do. Those who can't die where they stand. Some throw down their weapons. Others fight to the end, surrounded by Romans who have learned that the legendary phalanx bleeds like any other formation. The chase continues for miles. Roman cavalry hunts fleeing Macedonians across the hills. The fog returns, but now it hides only death. When the sun sets, the battlefield is turbulent. Roman officers walk among the dead, counting. 8,000 Macedonian bodies cover the slopes of Cynoscephalae. Another 5,000 are prisoners. The Roman losses. 700 dead, the mathematics of massacre. Philip escaped with half his army, but what remains is broken. Men who have lost faith in the weapon that once conquered the world. Flamininus stands on the ridge looking down at what his army has done. He knows what this means. For 50 years, the Macedonian phalanx has been invincible. Alexander used it to conquer Persia. His successors used it to rule the East. Today, on these hills, that era ended. The phalanx is not invincible. It never was. It just needed the right enemy. The phalanx works when everything is perfect. Flat ground, clear visibility, protected flanks, proper deployment, but war is never perfect. War is fog and hills and chaos. War is an unnamed tribune making a split-second decision. The Roman maniple can adapt. It can turn, it can think. The phalanx can only push forward and hope nothing goes wrong. At Cynoscephalae, everything went wrong. Philip returns to Macedonia. He pays Rome a crushing indemnity. He gives up his fleet. He releases his Greek territories. He surrenders his son as a hostage. Macedonia will never again challenge Rome. The kingdom that Alexander built is broken, not by another phalanx, not by superior numbers, but by flexibility, by adaptation, by soldiers who could fight as individuals or as a unit. The Battle of Cynoscephalae teaches a truth that echoes across centuries. Rigidity breaks, flexibility survives. The phalanx was a perfect weapon for a perfect battlefield. But Rome didn't give Philip a perfect battlefield. They gave him fog, hills, chaos, and an officer who saw an opportunity no one had ordered him to see. That's the difference between a formation and a system. The phalanx was a formation. The legion was a system. 30 years later at Pydna, Rome will destroy another Macedonian phalanx. The lesson will be the same. The weapon that conquered the known world cannot adapt when the world changes. In the annals of military history, Cynoscephalae stands as the moment when the future defeated the past. When flexibility conquered rigidity, when 2,500 Romans destroyed an empire by attacking from an angle no one thought possible. Years later, old soldiers who fought at Cynoscephalae will tell their grandchildren about the fog, the hills, the moment the phalanx died. They'll speak of the unnamed tribune who changed history. They'll describe how 18-foot pikes meant nothing when the enemy came from behind, and they'll end with the same truth. On that day, we learned that wars are not won by the longest spears or the deepest formations. They are won by the army that can think when the plan falls apart. The hills of Cynoscephalae stand quiet now, but if you listen closely, you can still hear the echo of that day. The day 26,000 Romans taught the world that the greatest weapon is not the one that looks invincible. It's the one that can adapt when everything goes wrong.